Hey guys, welcome back to A2D. Agree to disagree. We got a big week 18 coming up, a lot of playoff implications. So we just wanted to do our rundown and let you guys know who's going to win this week. Well, who we think is going to win this week anyway. We're going to, like I said, go through the rundown. Let us know if you guys agree to disagree. Who's winning? Playoff implications, if I could say that correctly. And if you're still in fantasy, Michael, he knows a couple people that are still in some fantasy leagues. So he kind of knows a little bit more about that. Me personally, like we already told you guys last week, fantasy, if you're still doing it, you shouldn't be doing it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys, big guys that aren't going to be in the lineup this week. So, like I said, that's why it's going to affect some games, some teams who win, lose. But yeah, we're going to go through the rundown. What you got, Michael? How's your day?
Well, first off, man, I got to compliment you. Got someone got a haircut. Looking good, man.
Hey,
No more hats,
finally, I
huh?
finally
All
got rid of
right.
the hat.
All right. First time you're not wearing Levante and first time you're not wearing a hat. I like it. All right. Sweet.
Hey,
Yeah.
one's Godwin, and then the other one, yeah, it's Levante. Those are my guys. I mean,
All right. All right. Well, I got my Jefferson on, man. Like, I think he's gonna have a big week this week. But yeah, like you said, we're going into week 18. Like most guys, we're pretty much done. But my nephew Lucas, he hit me up and he was like, hey, can you give me some guys this week that I can play? And so I know most of the younger generation, they don't really understand the game. So again, that's what we're here. We're trying to teach you guys, like, hey, second to last week should be your championship week, because week 18 there's a lot of sits, a lot of rest. They're getting ready for playoffs, so you're not going to have some of these major guys. But the good news is every team still plays, so there's still waivers, and you don't need a bench. You don't need these guys who are not playing. So that's what waivers are there for. So we'll help you out with that. So we'll get going here.
right. We got
Lucas.
some Saturday games, right? We got some games coming up here tomorrow. Kansas City at Denver. We got the Chiefs. It looks like they can potentially get the one seed. So I'm assuming that Pat Mahomes and crew is going to be out there, right?
So what we're looking at here, Titans have to lose to Titans are playing the Texans. So the Titans actually have to lose, but see, that game happens on Sunday. So the Chiefs are playing on Saturday. They have to win. I mean, for them to have any chance at the one seed, they have to win no matter what. So I expect Pat Mahomes to be out there. I expect Tyreek and Travis to be out there. Big losses in this game is actually Ronald Darby and Patrick Surtain the second. Both aren't playing. Those are the top two corners in Denver. So
On a good defense. Yeah.
look for Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek just to kind of light up the scoreboard. They're probably going to score 40 plus points and make this game out of hand real early. So
Right.
I wouldn't really mess around too much with this game. The spread's 10.5 in Vegas. I think the Chiefs are going to even though it's in
Right.
Denver, they're going to kind of win this game pretty easily. So
Right,
that's how I
exactly.
feel.
We won't waste a lot of time on this one. We're both on the Chiefs on this one. I think you just mentioned it, just because they can still potentially get the one seed. You mentioned Tennessee and Houston. Houston actually beat Tennessee once already this year. So if you're Kansas City, you got to play.
Yeah.
Just in case you could have potentially have the road through the AFC. Come through Kansas City. So I
Yeah.
expect them to play and get that one done. Next up, we got Dallas at Philadelphia. What you got?
This game, actually, this is one of those games where you're gonna start
Good
seeing
one.
some people rest. So Dallas is not going to get to the one seed, but they have already clinched their division long ago. uh Trayvon Diggs is not going to play in this game. I don't see that really affecting Philly that much.
Yeah.
Maybe the receivers pick up a little bit of slack, but they're a run first team anyway. I still like Dallas Goddard as their number one target, but I do have the Eagles winning this game. So Tony Pollard is not going to play for the Cowboys. That's actually a pretty big loss. He's been their more
That's a big
explosive back.
loss.
Yeah, he's been their more explosive back. I don't. I mean, the spread is the Cowboys are a 5-point favorite. I know for a fact they're definitely not going to cover that, but I actually like Philly to win this game, me personally. So
Right.
uh,
That's where I'm kind of torn because I don't know. Like if Dallas is gonna play, I mean, they don't need Diggs, all the way. But I picked Dallas, but I might want to switch. You might have just talked me out of it. I mean, like
this could probably
if they're
switch you
not playing their
back.
guys, if they're not playing Pollard,
this
I'll
might
stick with Dallas.
This might
I'll
switch
stick
you
with
back. This might switch you back with, Landon Dickerson and Lane Johnson, center and tackle for the Eagles are both questionable. Those could be big outs if they decide if they're not able to play. But the Eagles are fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, this game means a lot more to them than it means to Dallas. So I expect Philly to come out with guns blazing. That's me
Right.
personally. I think it's going to mean more to them. Where
Yeah.
Dallas has already kind of said like they're going to be resting guys, and they're just kind of
They
trying
said
to
they're
get
going
guys
to be
healthy.
resting guys?
What's that?
Did they say they're going to be resting
Well, like
guys?
Trayvon, this is a week that he would normally play, but they've already called him out. So that, I mean, and Pollard too. I mean, he should be playing this week, but with anybody with an injury, they're probably not going to play. With that pass rush though, if their offensive line's on their second, I mean, it's still a division game.
That's a tough. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game because, like you said, it's a division, and like if is Dak going to play the whole way? But even if he doesn't, Micah Parsons, he's probably going to be playing the whole time, and they like to run the ball with Jalen Hurts and shit. But with Micah chasing him around, I like that Cowboys defense, man. So I'll stick with Dallas. I'll
Yeah,
stick with
yeah.
Dallas.
I mean, it's gonna be a close game. I expect it to come down to a field goal at the end. But
Right. Hopefully not Greg the Leg. My God, that dude cannot split the uprights to save his life. It seems like.
Yeah, I still like Philly. I only pick Philly because I think that they have more to play for, and they're trying to get a playoff spot. They're trying to hold on to the Saints. Yeah, so I think that they have a little bit more to play for. And Dallas has been pretty inconsistent over the last month. So,
A2A on that one. We agree. All right, we got Green Bay at Detroit next. I guess we don't really need to spend a lot of time. But I don't think Green Bay, they already clinched the 1 seed, so they're probably going to rest like most of their guys. But honestly, if it's Jordan Love and is it AJ or Dylan?
So
if they got those guys going, I think they'll still be able to get it done, man. So I'm still kind of going with the Packers.
yeah, man, I picked Detroit last week on a whim, and that was a mistake. Aaron Rodgers, he's not out. They haven't said he's out. If he plays, I don't see him playing
No more
very
than a
much.
half.
Yeah, I don't see him playing very much. Aaron Jones is questionable with an injury. I think he's been dealing with a lower body injury. So I would expect a lot of AJ Dillon in this game, like you saw in the second half last week. DFS,
Yeah.
he's my go-to guy. AJ Dillon, I'm gonna light up everywhere.
Right.
For Detroit, Jair's not back yet, so I would be firing up on Ross St. Brown. I mean, he's been pretty incredible. I think 4 or 5 straight games with 8 catches or more. I mean, that's almost to the elite status, especially in PPR. So
he's gonna be a pretty hot commodity next year, especially if they improve the quarterback spot.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, DA, if he's playing again, he might not play the entire game. You got to be careful with that.
He shouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, even any receiver that you're going to play out there with Jordan Love, it's not going to be the greatest options. That's going to be a game they're just trying to get through. Detroit might be playing to, pick up an extra win, especially against the opponent. I do have Green Bay winning this game, but let's see, the spread on that game is 3.5. I could very well see that coming down to a field goal at the end. That's just kind of that's how Week 18 works out.
It could be a big Jordan Love moment, though. A Detroit defense that isn't too hot. That will finally get going because he didn't look too good, earlier in the year when he got his start. So I mean, even if it's only a half, Jordan Love's got to show something. Otherwise, Packers are going to be desperate this offseason. So
I mean, they're looking at Aaron Rodgers like they're pretty desperate about getting him back. I mean, the body language since they drafted Jordan Love just basically tells me that I'm not gonna say they made a mistake on him, but they're not all in like they were when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, 17 years ago. So
I heard some reports about Rodgers and like the management there not being, as rough as it was last year. There was some friction last year.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about retiring, maybe leaving, all that crap. Like seems like they're in a pretty good spot, and from what I hear, they want to keep him. So we'll see. But if Jordan Love, balls out,
it could help.
Who knows?
It could help. I mean, this situation happened a couple years. This was 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. When I can't remember his name now, but that kid that went out, signed that big deal with Seattle before Russell Wilson came in. I can't remember his name. He came out and threw 5 touchdowns.
From the Packers.
Yeah, I can't really remember. Matt Flynn.
Yeah, I know what you're
Matt
talking
Flynn.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
So, I mean, it could be a game where Jordan Love comes in and goes ballistic and goes bonkers, and everybody talks about him this offseason. And there it makes, a whole bunch of waves in the offseason, but it's Detroit, guys. So, I mean, it's,
Right. All right.
Green Bay. I
We'll get
think Green Bay.
to Indy at Jacksonville. I think we're probably both on the Colts here. I don't think we really need to spend a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like the Jacksonville is just a mess right now. Everything going on down there is
I'll
just
tell
bad.
you.
Urban Meyer, man, he just left that place in shambles.
Yeah, they lost James Robinson, who was kind of their playmaker, their kind of go-to guy. And the way that Urban Meyer, I kind of fucked that entire team up.
Dude.
They're in shambles. And the Colts, I mean, after losing last week, they have to win this game. They don't have a choice. If they lose this game,
Right.
they're not in the playoffs. It's a win and in for them.
Yeah. If you are in week 18 and you have Jonathan Taylor,
and on the other side, you're in a perfect spot. On the other side of it,
you might want to pay up for DFS. He might be worth paying up for because, like you said, they have to win. It's Jacksonville. Damian Harris had 2 touchdowns in the first half last week against them, and then your boy Ramondre Stevenson, I think he had another.
He had
tutty
107 and 2.
Yeah. So that's going to be all Jonathan Taylor. He's going to go off.
Yeah, and then on the other side,
go for that 2,000 too, because I think he has like 1,700 something, so 200 something yards. He might get to 2K.
Yeah, on the other side of it too. I mean, this doesn't mean anything for fantasy or anything. You're not starting any Jacksonville Jaguar at all, but they're also looking at losing this on purpose so they can get that 1 pick again. So I expect the Colts. Honestly, this is a 15 point spread, and I expect the Colts to cover it. Honestly, I think they're going to blow them up because again, they have to win to make the playoffs, which makes that Charger Raider game tomorrow night even much. And we're going to go into that here in a second, but it makes it that much more fun. So, but yeah, Colts. I mean, there's not even a question. That's 100%. There's no way.
Right. I think we might agree on this next one too. We got Washington at New York Giants. Right now, the Giants, it sucks. I drafted Saquon Barkley in one of my leagues, and they just have nothing going on offense the entire year. They don't have anybody to throw to. They can't run it. Their offensive line doesn't look very good. Like, nothing about that team gives you any reason of optimism right now.
Yeah, they're down to their 3rd-string quarterback, which last week, both quarterbacks were a mess. Fromm is not anything better than Lennon. So, Washington is actually, just last year they were a playoff team. Their defense hasn't looked as good this year. Heineke can make plays sometimes. This is a game, if you have McLaurin's someone you can light up. Antonio Gibson's back, so you can go ahead and light him up. But Giants, man, even if you have Saquon, sit him again. You can't.
Yeah, I think more like daily fantasy, wise right now, and I wouldn't touch anybody from either team.
I wouldn't either.
Game.
Yeah,
honestly, it's. But we both like Washington. They're the lesser of 2 teams, right? Or the better of 2 lesser teams right now. So
yeah, the only maybe in DFS would be Washington's defense, but even that's a big risk. But if you're trying for a cheap defense, that might work out. But other than that,
because whoever the Giants have been going against has been a good defense to start, because the quarterbacks, whether it's Glennon or Fromm, like you mentioned. Yeah, exactly.
And what? Even McLaurin's going to see a lot of Bradbury, and Bradbury is their best player.
Yeah, I wouldn't. McLaurin's had a rough past month or so. So I wouldn't even touch him.
So Antonio Gibson is the only one that and in DFS, it's just not worth it.
Your boy Patterson.
Yeah, he's not going to get enough work, but
right. Hey,
last week I was all over that.
He came through.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, we got Chicago at Minnesota. This is a tough one for you, man, because not really tough. It's I don't know how to call it, bittersweet, whatever, but it's probably Zimmer's last day on the sideline.
This will be his last game as a Vikings head coach. Not really bittersweet, man. I've been calling for his resignation or firing for 2 years now. This is how I feel about this game. when they played in Chicago earlier in the year, I put some money on Minnesota to cover a 6.5 point spread, and they won by 8. This is a 5.5 point spread, and Akeem Hicks is out for the Bears. Dalvin is going to have a game. He's my other DFS. If you're going to pay up for Jonathan Taylor, he's about $9,500. Go ahead. Right. Dalvin's about $7,200, and I think he's going to have as big, if not better, of a game, because the difference between when Akeem Hicks is in this game compared when he's out, Dalvin he's a different player.
Yeah, no, like Akeem Hicks is one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL. Absolutely. For sure.
And on the other side, even David Montgomery. So it looks like Justin Fields has COVID, so they might run the ball a little bit more against us. Michael Pierce is going to be out. He's doubtful, but he's going to be out. So both running backs in this game is somebody that you can play in DFS. Monty could be a good flex option. We lost.
Sorry, with Kirk back, DFS all day. Justin Jefferson too.
Yeah, Jefferson did catch a touchdown against us. It was really cold in that game. Obviously, we're playing at home, so we're indoors now. Jet could finish the game or finish the season with a big game. So,
right. I think the Vikings are gonna put up a good effort, man. This is gonna be like a goodbye to their coach, and they're gonna do it right. I think everyone's gonna show up. I could see Minnesota winning this game pretty handily. Honestly, I got Minnesota.
So this is 5.5. I would pick Minnesota with the points. And the over-under is 43.5. I'd pick the over in this one. So Minnesota and the over would be a good parlay bet. The Bears they're not going to have Justin Fields, and they're not going to have Akeem Hicks, and that is a big, big loss. I can't talk about how big of a loss that is. So, yeah, Vikings with the points. So, what's the next one up here?
I think we've been agreeing too much here. Now that I'm looking at it, I think we've agreed on every game except for the Dallas and Philly. And then here we go. We got Tennessee and Houston coming up. We're probably going to agree here too.
Yeah, you can't. Titans again are going for that 1 seed against one of the worst teams in football. We're not going to go too much into it. AJ Brown's going to have a big game. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to play, but
I'm going to ask if he plays or not to start getting warmed up. But they might want to rest him just in case.
Yeah, I would say AJ Brown, Deontay Foreman, those would be the DFS guys I look at. AJ Brown's actually in my DFS lineup. So he's actually playing it I have him in as a flex, but he'd be a receiver.
You guys want to check our lineups? Check our lineups on this page here in the morning, and then and hopefully we'll help you out. My daily last week came through.
Yeah, and mine too. I won a lot last week in daily. So
nice.
I was right about those running backs, man. So.
For sure. So I had Jamar Chase and Rashad Penny in my daily, so I think that says it all.
I had a league with Chase and Burrow and Rashad, and I went ballistic in that one. Yeah. So
right.
So
hit us up for those dailies. We'll get you taken care of. All right. Next up, we got Pittsburgh and Baltimore. We might agree on this one too, man. What the hell?
I got Pittsburgh. I have Baltimore Pittsburgh too, man.
Baltimore, they're banged up.
This was the one where I actually picked the underdog because of two reasons. Number one, Lamar's still out. So Pittsburgh is actually, they're going to be able to rush the passer. TJ Watt's looking like a man like a bat out of hell. They are still playing for the slightest of possibilities. They have to have a lot happen in front of them to make that 7 seed, but they still have a chance. So they're going to be playing with, it's Ben's last game, potential last game. So they're going to be playing with some fire. So, and when it comes to Steelers and Ravens, it doesn't matter who has home field, doesn't matter about any of that.
I just can't get past the fact that they're just so banged up in the secondary in Baltimore. Stafford threw a pick 6 last week, Big Ben could very well do the same thing. But just with how banged up they are, I could see Deontay Johnson, going nuts. So he's the guy for daily that you might want to target too. So
maybe Pat Freiermuth at tight end, something like that.
Right.
And on top of that, their one corner that was actually playing kind of decent was Averett, and Averett's out even now. So they're down even another corner. They
got a curse this year, man. Yeah, everything, whether it's Lamar, their running backs, their DBs, everything, man, except for Mark Andrews. So
Yeah.
knock on wood, Mark.
He's gonna be their guy. So
right. Next up, we got Cincinnati at Cleveland. We might disagree on this one. We talked about it a little bit, and I think Cincinnati's resting guys. I know Burrow's out. I know Mixon's out. It sounds like Chase is out.
So believe it or not, if you're about to say the Browns, we're gonna agree on this one.
Yeah, I think we're agreeing on this one too.
Yeah, because Joe's gonna be out. He's resting. Guys, like that knee injury he got at the end of the game last week. It's more of a maintenance thing. It was a very, very mild knee injury. He's resting it because this is gonna, and again, it's gonna be a cold game. They don't want him to tweak anything. Jamar Chase he's healthy, and there's a good chance he just purely rests. Mixon has COVID.
Obviously, he's healthy.
Yeah, I don't
256 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't even think they're going to try to rush Mixon
in history.
Yeah, so I don't even think they're going to try to rush Mixon back. So Samaje Perine. So Lucas, here you go, man. If you need a running back, Samaje Perine is the guy this week. There's actually I have 3. Samaje Perine's one of them. So Joe Mixon's not going to play this week. Samaje is actually one of the better number 2 backs, and he's going to get a lot of volume. I can't remember. It's not Chris Evans. He's the actor. Who's their number 3?
No, it is Chris Evans.
It is Chris Evans? Okay, so Chris Evans, I always
number 25, I think is
okay,
what.
so
I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, Captain America's another. Oh, we got a guest on our show.
You want to say hi? No. Say hi? No, yeah. Okay, here. I'll help you. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
We got our producer on the show here.
All right, you got it. There you go.
Anyway, yeah. So Captain America would be your number 3 back there, and he could be possibly a deep sleeper, especially in passing down work, with Brandon Allen being the starter there. So I would go with Perine, before I go with anything like that. So
that's it. He's the only guy really.
Yeah,
because he can he's actually a real good handcuff to have if you had Mixon all year, because he can kind of he's really good out of the backfield. He's got good soft hands. He can handle like the full workload if need be. So that's good. But I'm on Cleveland because they're gonna put their better quarterback in, Case Keenum, and honestly he knows the system. So. I think that they're going to rally. They're at home. Cleveland, their fans have always been super passionate. So I'm rolling with the Browns finishing up here.
I gotta take a second, man. I went back and I watched. I kind of rewatched not really the highlights, but I watched the film. I watched the film on Baker last week. Man, that might have been the worst quarterback performance of the year. Honestly. There was a time where he had 5 seconds to throw. I mean, his offensive line was doing work, and he had 3 wide receivers open. I mean, there was a play where Landry was wide open across the middle, and he got sacked. And he had a clean.
And you can see Landry afterwards, like, damn, dude,
come on,
I'm open, hit me.
Cleveland picked up
his dad posted a video here pretty soon. His dad's gonna be on Instagram.
Yeah, Cleveland's they picked up his option, man, but good Lord, it is time to cut.
Something's gonna happen for sure. You could see him in Detroit or Washington with the Admirals. Who knows?
Or go and draft a quarterback and have him back that guy up. I mean, it was bad. It was very, very bad.
I don't think Cleveland drafts a guy. They're gonna definitely bring in a veteran that's ready to win right now.
It was terrible, but. Yeah, I do. I mean, Case Keenum will actually make those throws, and Chubb is still going to play. I don't know about Kareem Hunt. I think he's done for the year. I'd be shocked if he plays.
Yeah, but, there's no need for him.
But yeah, especially at -6, man. The Browns are 6-point favorites, but I don't think they're going to cover that. But I think they do win this game by a field goal or 4 points, 5 points, something like that.
Yeah, I got Cleveland also. Next up, we got the afternoon slate of games starting up here on Sunday, and we got a big one, huge one. San Francisco at the Los Angeles Rams. San Francisco.
This one has a lot of playoff implications for seeding and San Francisco hasn't locked it in yet. So this is
They
kind
got
of
their number though. They got the Rams number. I think it's like what, 4 in a row
4 or
or
5 in a
whatever it is.
row. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Debo usually has his best games against Jalen, and this is one of those times where we might disagree on this game because I still do think the Rams are going to win this game. I think they're at home. I think they're playing for the division. I think they're going to be fired up. Stafford's had some pretty mediocre games over the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
San
I mean
Francisco, you can
that's kind
beat
of,
them in the secondary, and that's just kind of where I
yeah,
think that's going to go.
right. But like what you just hit on was Stafford being up and down, against a banged up Raven secondary. He, didn't do well. He threw a pick six. He didn't have his best game against the Titans. Their secondary got picked apart a lot this year, and against them, he threw another pick six, maybe 2 that game.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I just don't quite trust Stafford. And I was the one before the season saying he's going to be in the MVP mix. He's the reason they're going to be better. But just seeing him in these big moment games, he's been up and down. And the Niners, they just seem to have their number. So we do disagree on this one. I am going with the Niners. I feel like you said, they're not in it yet. They're not officially clinched or anything. They're going to be more desperate. I think Jimmy's back. So when Jimmy's there, Kittle plays like a monster. And the Rams, who they got for him? They're going to put Ramsey on him. Then Debo's going to go crazy, So I just –
Well, Debo
they just
actually
match up with him.
they usually line Jalen up against Debo. There's been some talk this week about how Debo actually slays him, actually beats him up pretty good. The only reason I'm picking the Rams in this game is because Matt Stafford's a different quarterback at home. The only bad game, quote unquote, he's had was against Arizona earlier in the year. And that even in that game, I think he threw 3 touchdowns and 2 picks, something like that. But other than that, he's been a different quarterback at home. So when you see him against the Ravens, it's, they're still playing in Baltimore and they're still playing outdoors. I mean, he's always been a dome quarterback.
Right.
He's always been an inside
Right.
guy. So I think he's going to have a better game here. It's going to be close down the stretch. And, the fans, I've been to a Rams game this year, man. They get fired up for the Rams. I've been to a Charger game and a Ram game this year, and it's 2 completely different crowds. It's insane.
For sure.
So
well,
the Rams,
the Chargers belong in San Diego, so that's why that is. The Rams have history in LA. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the Rams, they go deep down there, so that makes total sense. But like you said, that's going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go either way. I'll go with San Francisco. Sounds like you're with the Rams. Next up, we got Carolina at Tampa. Probably not going to spend much time on this one either. I know Tampa BA said that, we're playing to win. So that says it all right there.
So we can touch on this a little bit. I don't really want to go too far into it because, it's old news by now. But the only thing I can see that can kind of hurt the Bucs here is how this week has gone and how if they're going to be focused or not. If they're focused, they're going to blow them out. And I hope they blow them out. I hope they win by 30 because, again, I want Matt Rule gone. I'm not a Panther fan. I'm not a Panther hater. I want the Bucs. I want this to be the final nail in his coffin, man. Like, if you're going to beat the Bucs, like, now's the week to do it. And if they get blown out at home or on the road, and Tom goes off and it looks like they're down to, because Rojo's not playing, so they're going to be down to Keyshawn
Vaughn. Speaking of, that's a good for daily fantasy. That's a good one. And then for if you need a handcuff or a waiver, if you're still doing fantasy for some dumb reason, then Vaughn's another guy that you can go after this week because I think he's going to get most of the work.
Yeah, I would go with a little bit more of a solid route. If you're going to talk about paying up, I'd pay up for Gronk. I think he's going to have a lot of targets this week. Carolina is actually pretty decent against the run. I think they're like top 6 against fantasy.
Yeah, and Gilmore will probably follow Evans around too. So
yeah,
Gronk should be a nice one.
Yeah, Gronk should have a touchdown in this game, I would think. And you're going to have to pay for him. He's going to be a top 5 priced tight end, but he's somebody that I would pay for. I'm going a different route. I'm going cheap at tight end this week, but if you have the money and you get down there and you have the money, he's going to be
for sure
a lock.
Yeah, he's going to be it. My 2 cents on the whole, field stuff, I think I believe in Tommy. I believe in BA. Like that page has been turned. The troops are about to get rallied, and it's locking in. I think Carolina's in some trouble this week.
If you were to pick one quarterback in history to lead a team onto the field after what transpired this last week and a half, it's Tom Brady. So
For sure.
Not even mentioning, I mean, with the things going on with Antonio Brown and Bruce Arians, I mean, I'm going to be real. I'm confused. I mean, there's sometimes I believe Antonio, sometimes I believe Bruce. Like at this point, it doesn't matter. He's not a Buck anymore.
Right.
That's going to be for the lawyers and doctors and all that to decide. Now it's about going out, winning your back, defending your championship. And that's the guy you want behind you is Tom Brady. And, I was wrong about him 2 years ago. I thought, after that Patriots-Titans playoff game, I mean, I thought he was done after that. And he's proved everybody wrong. He proved me wrong.
The second quarterback in NFL history to throw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah,
and
man, he's
at 43 and 44 years old. It's beyond crazy. Anyways, we'll get done with that one. We know the Bucs are going to handle that one. Then this next game here, we got Seattle at Arizona. It's going to be another NFC West battle that's going to be close.
This one we might argue a little bit about. The spread is so far one way, but the Cardinals are so damn inconsistent.
That's why I'm going with Seattle. I got Seattle just because they actually got a running game going with your boy Rashad Penny. Last week the offense was clicking big time, so I think Seattle, they want to finish strong. They want to make sure that they can keep Russ, keep some momentum, and keep it going into the offseason so he doesn't go anywhere. I think Seattle, it's a rival division. They're going to play spoiler. I got Seattle.
Yeah, man, there was a move made in the dark that no one's really talking about on social media, and he actually has a chance to play this week, and that's J.J. Watt. He doesn't you don't hear him play because the last 3 or 4 years he's always out. But when he plays, he makes a big difference on that defense. And he's going to definitely stop the run, and they're gonna pressure Russ a little bit more. That game's in Arizona. They're 6.5, so 7-point favorites. I don't think they cover that. I mean, it's gonna be one of those division games. No Hop, there's no Edmonds, there's no Connor is questionable, but he's on kind of the downside of questionable. So again, another DFS sleeper you could talk about. Another guy, if you need a week 18 running back, is Eno Benjamin. This guy is, he's kind of an Edmonds light. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He shows some explosiveness out of the backfield. So that's another guy that, again, we have hit on these running backs every single week. Shit,
Keyshawn Vaughn, man.
Yeah, since week 13, week 14, when I basically was desperate, I've hit on these running backs. And I have one more name that I forgot to mention back in that Chiefs game, but these running backs.
Gore, maybe because CEH is out. Maybe Gore.
Derek Gore. This is going to be Derek Gore because I think they're going to be blowing him out. So he's going to get a lot of second half work, and I think he's a guy that probably has a good chance to score and get a lot of work because they're going to be up big probably early. Darrell Williams, again, is a guy you start, but Derek Gore is a guy, a DFS, again, in a sleeper spot. If you desperately need a running back in your week 18, with CEH being out, with Mixon being out, with Derrick Henry not being back yet, you need a running back. Samaje Perine, Eno Benjamin, Derek Gore in that order. Go make sure that all three of those guys are on. Keyshawn Vaughn is the fourth. Yeah. So go make sure all 4 of those guys are on your roster. And that way, the guy you're playing against can't roster any of them either.
And back to the Seattle and Arizona. Who you have winning that one?
I got the Cardinals. I got the Cardinals winning by a field goal. I think Matt Prater hits a 55-yarder at the buzzer.
Cool. So we got 3 disagreements here finally, and then we got next up we got New England at Miami. Personally, New England's got more to play for. I'm pretty sure Miami just got eliminated last week. New England could jump all the way up to the 1 seed with a win and a lot of help.
Yeah.
New England, I wouldn't want to play Bill this time of year, so New England.
I got New England too. I ain't gonna go. I'm gonna be in Miami. I'm flying out to Miami tomorrow, so I'll actually be in that city. But I'm actually jetting out on a big ship though, so I won't be hanging out in Miami that long. But long enough to maybe see Bill in the airport, maybe. Who knows? But I got the Pats. I got the Pats win this one. I don't see the Dolphins playing for much other than maybe playing spoiler, but they ain't spoiling much. I mean, the Pats are in it one way or another.
Yeah, that's Flores. He came from Bill. You know what I mean? Bill always handles his assistants.
I have the Pats pretty much locked into the 5 seed because this next game we're about to talk about, I think it's going to go one way too. So I think that the destiny of the Bills playing the Patriots in Buffalo in the cold, I think that's coming, and a rematch of that really windy game is coming. But I do see the Pats winning this game, and they're gonna. Right. I don't know if the spread is 6.
Right.
I would probably say a 7-10 point win.
Right. A2A on that one. We agree. So we got next up on my list here. The 125 game is New Orleans at Atlanta. NFC South divisional game. Me personally, I think I'm going with Atlanta. They're at home. Matt Ryan, there could be some questions about him. I know the Saints have a lot more to play for because the Falcons are out. They're eliminated. They're just playing spoiler at this point. But it's Matt Ryan versus Taysom Hill. Give me Matt Ryan every time.
So I actually have Atlanta as well.
No way.
I do. The reason why, so Roby and PJ Williams are out for New Orleans, and then Kyle Pitts is questionable. I don't really know if he's on what side of questionable, but this is one of those games, man, that just feels like Matt Ryan's going to go off. I can't tell you why I feel that way. He's one of those guys, I think, if he's not a free agent,
I don't think he is. I think he might have another year or two left on his deal.
Damn near close to it.
But it's getting there. And there was talks this past offseason because of the draft situation that they were in, that they might have drafted a quarterback, took Fields or whoever it was. I remember hearing a lot of that talk, and I think it's a good thing they kept Matt. Quarterbacks like that, you can't really get. Like, he doesn't become free agent for a reason, because that dude is a high level quarterback. He just is on a team that doesn't have a good offensive line, has a terrible defense, and didn't have Calvin Ridley all year. You got a rookie as your best playmaker, and he's a rookie, and he did well he did over 1,000 yards for Kyle Pitts. He broke a rookie record, I'm pretty sure. So Matt Ryan, like I said, that's why, like, they might rally for him because there might be some uncertainty. You know what I mean? Like, it might be his last game in Atlanta. He's going to want to, put on a good performance. I'm going with Matty Ice in Atlanta.
I just have that feeling, man, the same thing. I mean, this one could have been one we very easily could have disagreed about, but
I thought we were.
I actually like the Falcons in this one. Much. But But I wanted to touch on this real quick because Matt Ryan, the talk about him maybe reuniting with Shanahan. I mean, there's been talks about him going to 3 or 4 different places. This might be the year if he's not gone.
Imagine him in Pittsburgh.
If he's not gone by the draft, I mean, where they're sitting, I mean, I believe Bryce Young is declaring for the draft. I mean, they might be in a position they could go after him with how the DNs are setting up for 1 and 2. I mean, Atlanta's going to be sitting with probably the 5.
He's never been a guy that he's going to age like Tom if he wants to, honestly. Like, he's not a guy that's ever used his legs. He's always manipulated with his brain, and he's smart. Like, I'm not drafting. I want to start him over any rookie. I'm starting Matt Ryan. So to me, it's still too soon. Like, he can play 3 to 4 or 5 more years.
I don't see Atlanta.
Except if he wants to, not everybody wants to. Some guys,
I don't see Atlanta giving him another contract, to be honest with you. So, I mean, if he has 1 year left there, I don't see him re-signing. I mean, unless if he's going 1-1-1-1-1, I don't see them giving him 3, 4, 5.
No.
So as much as that guy he's actually been.
If he only has 1 more year in Atlanta, he'll play out that year, And then if he becomes a free agent, which would be good for him, then hopefully just come to Tampa. Tom might be done by that. Either way, he should go to a team where he has a chance to win, because Atlanta, respect the loyalty and everything, but they're not anywhere close right now. So
Yeah, we might be looking at a quarterback carousel this offseason. It's either going to be this season or next
dude,
season. It's
Deshaun
coming.
Watson and Matt
Yeah,
Ryan,
there's
Derek
going to be a
Carr,
lot of
Russell Wilson
retirements.
rumors. There's been a lot going on. Aaron Rodgers, there's uncertainty there, dude. So much, this is going to be a wild offseason.
I mean, I've even heard some Kirk Cousins trade talks. There's
Right.
going to be a carousel, and it's coming. It's either going to be in 2022 or 2023.
Those are some championship altering quarterbacks right there, dude. Those some guys like that move, that's especially if one of them goes to Pittsburgh, a team that's got everything. They just need a quarterback that's not Ben. Sorry, Ben. But anyways, all right. So we're both on Atlanta. Next up, we got probably another agreement: New York Jets at Buffalo. Buffalo's got obviously more to play for. It's the Jets.
This is the biggest spread of the week. They have the Bills -16. You know what?
Hey, the Jets, don't sleep on them.
You know what? This is the week where the Bills, 16 is a big spread, man. This is not a game I would ever bet on, but if you're going to ask me who I'd pick with this a 16 point, I'd probably buy some points. I'd probably buy 3 or 4 points to make it a 2 touchdown spread, but 16 is very, very doable. The Swiss Army knife for the Jets is going to be out. Braxton Berrios just got put on IR today. So he was a 2 touchdown guy last week.
He killed us last week.
Yeah, Michael Carter is going to have a concussion. I don't think he plays.
They're in draft position though. They should be losing. Jets are probably almost trying to lose at this point.
Yeah.
They just get a draft pick. If they can get another offensive lineman to really protect him, and get Becton back, they got some pieces. So hopefully they're just going for the draft.
They drafted a guy that I really liked in Minnesota. So during this last draft, one of the biggest trades was the Jets actually moving into 14 and drafting Elijah Vera Tucker. And he very, very quietly has had an incredible season. I know you don't really look at the PFF scores or the Pro Fantasy or the rating.
Hey, they got Tom Brady as MVP, so PFF knows a little something.
Well, Elijah Vera Tucker has like a 91 rating this year. I mean, he was a massive hit, and that's where that team has to start, is on offensive, defensive line.
He came out of USC, I think, right?
Yeah, he came out. He was the guard tackle. He plays guard for him.
I remember we were talking about him. Yeah,
I really liked him for Minnesota, and we traded back, and then obviously got Christian Darrisaw, who's actually also had a fairly good year. He's gotten beat a couple of times by some elite pass rushers, but he's gonna get better. Other than like Rashawn Slater, who I think is in the Pro Bowl. I mean, that guy is a stud out there in LA, but was the best tackle in the draft. So
speaking of, that's the next game as LA.
And this one I'm excited about. I talked about it a little bit yesterday or the day before. Man, this.
So you're on the Bills, right? All right, cool. Just to be clear, my bad.
Yeah, this Charger Raider game. Yeah, I got the Bills. Sorry, yeah, I do. The Bills.
Right.
Charger Raider game, man. This is the game to watch this week. Every other game is going to be, either one-sided or it's not really going to surprise you who wins. This is going to be a game. If I gave you a coin, you could legit flip it, and it would tell you who's going to win this game.
Vegas at home. Derek Carr, dude, he's been rolling. He's been playing pretty good.
So I have the Chargers in this game because I do think they are the more talented team altogether.
I agree.
Altogether.
Right.
Waller's not going to be there. Jacobs is banged up. I can finally wash my hands of Josh Jacobs. I'm never going to do that again. But you know what? He has gotten a lot of volume this year.
This has helped you out, man.
Yeah, he's highly questionable with that ankle again. Derek Carr is going to have his best game as a pro to win.
Waller might be back though. I think Waller's going to be back. They got Renfro. They got the receivers that have been.
Is he going to be back? Because I'm hearing Waller's still out.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I heard I had him on my fantasy league, and I heard he was going to practice this week. I'm like, yeah, typical. You would practice now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit. So
It's
either
a
way,
win
I
and
think
in. It's a win and in. It might be all hands on deck no matter what
right.
happens. It very well could. I actually am playing Foster Moreau in my DFS. I like him as a tight end. And I mean, he's actually been there. He's actually been playing. I know last week
Not
he had a
last week
dud,
though.
but
God.
the Colts are actually decent against tight ends. The Chargers are not. The Chargers are ranked 32nd against the tight end, and this is going to be a very pass heavy game, both sides. If you're still playing week 18, any Charger, any Raider, I mean, it's going to be a high scoring game. It's an over under of 49.5, which is the highest of the week. And it's just when you see that kind of stuff, Vegas usually knows what they're talking about. You want to fire up your players in that game. And, on both sides
I'm going with the Chargers also. I think you just said it. They got Herbert. They just got the more talented team with Eckler, Herbert, Keenan Allen, and crew. Last year, I remember Herbert just lighting those guys up. He just kind of has their number. For whatever reason, he seems a little more comfortable playing against them. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Vegas, because they've been rallying. Derek Carr is playing some inspired ball, but I'm going with the Chargers. Herbert's just the better player. I want to see him in the playoffs too. I want to see him take on these other AFC quarterbacks.
I'm going to talk about it because everybody's talking. I mean, even Ian Rappaport did a whole thing about this. If the Colts are to lose in the early game, if this is a close game coming to the end, I don't think this will ever happen. If this happens, I'd probably call the commissioner and say, hey, pick one, because I don't believe in ties. If they wanted to, and this game is close, goes to overtime, they could just kneel on the ball and both teams make the playoffs. With a tie and a Colts loss, both these teams, that's the only way both these teams make it. Now, you might say
they wouldn't even they can just play their backups or whatever, they would still play. I'm sure they would probably just play their backups because I think, like you said, both teams get in if the Colts lose to the Jacksonville. But
no. If the Colts lose and there's a tie between the Chargers and Raiders, it doesn't. I mean, if the Colts lose and then one of the teams wins in that Sunday night game, whoever wins, it allows the Colts back in. But if there's a tie, it allows both those teams to have a half a game above the Colts, and that's the only way that the Colts get out.
I'm not so sure because if the Chargers win, and then the Colts lose, Colts will be 9-8. Vegas lose, they'll be 9-8. But Vegas just beat the Colts.
If the Colts lose and the Chargers win,
then Vegas and Chargers are in no matter what. So I think what they would do.
That's true. That's
what
true.
I heard is they just won't even play the game. They'll just come take knees so nobody gets hurt. The Chargers and Vegas will just knee on it. They'll each take 15 or 20 knees and then just get the clock ran out and go home and just not, just have their backups play or whatever.
I did hear that.
So that would be the thing there. But honestly, I don't think that would be crazy. I hope that doesn't happen because, a winner take all division game, Sunday Night Football, it doesn't get much better than that. Seeing two legit, AFC quarterbacks, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, playing for it all. That's a playoff game essentially. As long as the Colts win,
two franchises hate each other.
Then that's a playoff game. So I'll go Chargers.
I am going Chargers too. The only thing I'm going to say, just to be that asshole, is I would love to hear Chris Collinsworth for 60 minutes of football being like, because they have to do the entire telecast. So imagine if those quarterbacks went in that game and just took a knee for 60 minutes. Imagine hearing Chris Collinsworth for 60 minutes. That guy would lose his mind because that guy's all about integrity of the game and all that kind of shit. So imagine him having to call that game and all they do is take a knee.
Then just go over playoff scenarios, start going over matchups, look at old highlights, something. You can't just watch the knees, But anyways, that's not even gonna happen. So it looks like we agreed a lot this week, man. There's only 3 games we disagreed on. You guys let us know if you disagree on any of our picks. I was 12-4 last week, so
I'm I'm going to be MIA, so I'm not going to be posting on social media here. So I'm just going to go over my DFS lineup real quick. So I do have Derek Carr in that game because I do think that he has to go big or go home. So I actually have Derek Carr as my quarterback. My 2 running backs are going to be Dalvin Cook and A.J. Dillon. I think Dalvin without Akeem Hicks is going to have the game for Minnesota. They don't have Adam Thielen still. Jefferson's going to, with Kirk back, going to get his targets. He's if you're going to pay up for that. A.J. Dillon, I really don't think Aaron Jones is going to play, guys. So, against Detroit, what they just did, A.J. Dillon did against Minnesota, that's a great DFS play. I probably will change this out. I didn't realize I had Brandon Ayuk in. I don't really like that play, to be honest with you. I picked I was thinking about the Debo matchup against Jalen and who was the number 2 receiver.
Kittle.
Yeah, but
especially if Jimmy G's there.
So for $5,600 is what I have left. You know what? Like there's Tyler Boyd, there's Jarvis Landry, there's guys like that.
Hey, Jarvis with what's his name back with Case might not be too bad.
Yeah, actually the guy that I'm probably gonna go with here, and this is actually a sleeper this week. I would say a sleeper. It's probably gonna be Russell Gage. He plays in the slot a lot in Atlanta.
He's had a hell of a finish to the year, dude. Yeah. He's finished nice.
So I'm actually gonna swap that out and go with Russell Gage. Brandon Cooks against Tennessee. I like him. He, the number 1 receiver there. He's
always productive. It's crazy, man.
There's actually a line over the last couple of years, him compared to Devontae Adams. Now Adams has him clearly in touchdowns and clearly in talent, but catches and yards is actually fairly similar in production. So fantasy wise, man, that's a great DFS play all the time. The guy in the Rams that I like this week, I think he's going to catch one of the deep ones, is Van Jefferson. He's the cheapest out of the 3. I think he's going to be the best value there. If he can get you 4 or 5 catches, he should get a deep one, probably a touchdown. They like to spread it all, get all 3 guys a touchdown. So, he's a guy that I think that you can bank on maybe 15 fantasy points. Foster Moreau, the Chargers are 32nd against the pass. I don't know if Waller's coming back. I probably will keep Moreau in even if Waller does come back. So there's that. And then A.J. Brown I have in my flex and the Vikings defense because the Bears are the Bears. So that's going to be – and we have actually a pretty decent pass rush, and we beat the fuck out of them last time we played them. So and now we're in Minnesota. So I think that
I don't like play. I mean, I'll do my daily. I'll put mine. You guys have heard his. I'll put mine out there. I'll post mine like I did. I'll put it in the comment section and let you guys see my daily. You can compare it to yours. Let me know. See how for you guys A2D.
Yeah, and last thing I want to say, guys, I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going to be out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So, BT might be, doing some playoff, shows here. You might have a guest host. I'm kind of giving him reins over the next week to, replace me for a week. But I will see you guys back ready for the divisional round. And, until then, thanks for listening and, have a good weekend.
Let us know if you A2D. Let us know your game picks.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Later.